for our report. Since my partner already discussed her part, and now I will discuss my part, which is about the linguistic imperialism. So, linguistic imperialism, it is known as a language imperialism, is defined as the transfer of a dominant language to other people. It is a form of imperialism where the dominance of one language leads to cultural, political, and economic influences over others. So, the linguistic imperialism, it is refers to a dominant language wherein spread their language to other countries. And one of the very example of the dominant language is the English, because we know that English is really exposed and used across the world. It's because of the British and the American influence. So the role of the linguistic imperialism in the modern world. Linguistic imperialism influences international development, shaping global communication and policies. So, linguistic imperialism is really influence our international development. It's because the dominant language like English has a strong effect on how countries around the world communicate, cooperate, and make the important global decisions. And the institutions like the IMF stands for International Monetary Fund. It is a World Bank international organization. It refers to the funds, financial, or loans, which intended to use English language or the dominant language in that organization. Even the documents, the reports, or others requirements, it should be written or speak with English or the dominant language. And the phenomenon reflects linguistic relativism, showing how language can shape worldview and ideology. So, when we say relativism, it means that what people believe to be true, right, or normal can change depending. So, for example, if a person speaks English, their way of describing time, color, or emotions might be different from someone who speaks another language. This happens because language shapes our thoughts and perceptions. Academic perspectives and theories of language dominance. So the concept gained attention in the early 1990s, especially through Robert Dixon in 1992, book entitled The Linguistic Imperialism. So his research examined both advantages and disadvantages of the language dominance. But according to Robert Dixon, the linguistic imperialism has a two effect, which is the negative and the positive. In the positive, dominant language really help us to communicate well across the world, especially when we are going to use that dominant language. But in the negative way, it can also lose our importance of our native language or our first language or the local language. At Philipson, linked linguistic imperialism, cultural imperialism, capitalism, and the world domination. So in cultural imperialism, we're going to use the language on how we share our culture and other languages. And also capitalism. It refers to businesses and also world domination. Criticism of English as a global language is often associated with anti-globalism. And next, according to the Hell, Brooks, and John Kodama, and based on the Philipson theory, linguistic imperialism has 5 main characteristics. You can read the first characteristic. Yes, Justine.
First characteristic, form of linguistic favoring the dominant language like racism or elitism.
So, in the form of linguism, it is refers to favoring favoring the dominant language, which specifically the English language. So this linguist is favoring one language over others. This happens when one language, like English, is treated more valuable, while other languages are ignored or seen as less important. And the number two is structural inequality. It is more resources to go to the dominant language. So, structural inequality, more support and resources go to the dominant language, especially in schools, jobs, and government system, often prioritizing using the dominant language. It's giving speakers more opportunities switch using the dominant language. And number three, ideological dominance, believe that the dominant language is more prestigious or normal. And number four, cultural connection, linked with power structures in education and media politics. And number five, exploitation causes injustice and inequality between the speakers and the non-speakers of the dominant language. So, Philipson critiques English teaching method that promotes dominance, such as English is best taught monolingually. So, according to Philipson, Robert Philipson, that teaching bilingual using more than language can help students or learners learn better rather than using the monolingual. And next, the ideal teacher is a native speaker or native speaker policy. But according to Robert Philipson, that non-native speaker teachers are also effective or ideal teachers, not just only the native teacher speaker. And next, earlier teaching gives better results. And early start policy, which the belief that starting English very early guarantees better results. But according to Robert Philipson, starting young doesn't always mean better learning. Quality and method also matter more. And next, using more English exposure equal to better results or maximum exposure policy. So it is the idea that more English exposure always lead to better results. But Philipson said that too much focus on English can push out the local languages and more bilingual learning. And next is using other language reduce English standard for the subtractive policy. So in subtractive policy, we believe that using other languages lowers English standards. But Philipson says that using multiple languages strengthens learning and preserves cultural identity. So the end of my discussion.